Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. If you are new around here, every single day at 1 p.m. UK time, we release an update just like this one to help you stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We will be covering what the Fed did yesterday and how this has played out in the markets and what was kind of forward guided. We'll be looking at Bitcoin, of course. You're getting lots of really good moves on altcoins, and this is very typical of what happens after or when you're at a period of exceptionally low volatility. It expands and you get these sort of real explosive moves to the upside. We'll be looking at the dollar. We'll be looking at some news from the SEC charging SafeMoon, and then we'll be extending. We spoke yesterday about how Stan Druckenmiller had issued a bit of a warning. We're going to be actually playing the clip from Squawkbox on that. But what I want to do to start the video off, guys, is really just talk and highlight something that I think largely flew under the radar. Now, some of you may have heard of DTCC due to their listing of, first of all, BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF, and then actually yesterday their listing of a Bitcoin ETF for Invesco and Galaxy. Now, what do they mean by listing? We'll explain that, because DTCC is essentially the key piece of financial infrastructure for pretty much the NASDAQ, and actually not just the NASDAQ, but a large portion of financial instruments globally. You know, they are accepted as the kind of premium standard of infrastructure. And there was some pretty huge news that I think really flew under the radar. And we actually covered it yesterday in relation to the fact that they are buying Securrency, which actually is piloted and is partnered with Stellar Lumens. But DTCC, I think, annually processes about 2.5 quadrillion in value. And these guys essentially are buying Securrency, which we covered in yesterday's seller video when we looked at the fact that they actually use or looking to utilize Lumen's technology for the remittance of tokenized assets. But these guys essentially, and I'll read a little bit about it, DTCC, the premier market infrastructure for the global financial service industry. So that's a big industry, by the way, guys. Today announced it has signed a definitive agreement to acquire Securrency Incorporated, a leading developer and institutional-grade digital asset infrastructure. The acquisition, which is expected to close within the next several weeks, will position DTCC as a provider of global leadership in bridging best-in-class industry practice with advanced digital technologies to encourage acceptance and adoption of digital assets. So this is absolutely huge, guys. I mean, it really cannot be understated. We'll go on and read a little bit more before we move on, because we've got a lot to cover. By combining DTCC's digital capabilities and Securrency's technology, DTCC will fast-track development of enterprise digital asset platforms to unlock a powerful institutional DeFi. DTCC will leverage the technology over time to embed digital assets within its existing products and services, which is huge, by the way. Most stocks go through this. Develop new regulatory compliant blockchain-based offerings and explore use cases in the industry, including buy-side asset management, broker-dealer, and custodian, and collaborate on new DTCC blockchain-based solutions. This is huge. We covered this more. If you want to watch yesterday's video on Stellar Lumens, we highlight the link. These guys are subsidiaries process securities transactions valued at 2.5 quadrillion. And its depository subsidiary provide custody asset servicing securities issued from over 150 countries and territories valued at 72 trillion. The amount of value that is going to be put on the blockchain is going to blow people's minds. You know, that doesn't mean the market cap per se is going to go to those sort of numbers, but there's going to be that sort of volume in terms of value transacting in many cases on public blockchains. And then, we look at key components of the blockchain space from an infrastructure point like Chainlink. It's a very exciting time ahead. Also, on the tokenization of things, we recently published an article actually on HSBC venturing into gold tokenization. So actually HSBC are looking to tokenize gold. They're also looking to tokenize some of their markets, deposits, and move into bonds and things like that. So very interesting. Moving on to more pressing matters, you can see Starbucks beating earnings at the top there. Yesterday, you had the Fed rate decision. Bank of England also expected to hold. Bank of Canada holding, because of the bond market, I believe. But the Federal Reserve essentially all agreed to hold rates where they were. Now, we looked at this and said it was a very likely outcome. This is the second consecutive meeting that the Federal Open Market Committee chose to hold following a strict 11 rate hike, including 4 in 2023. The decision includes an upgrade to the committee's general assessment of the economy. So again, this ties in with our overall thinking. This is our macro view. We've done a lot of looking into the effect of rates with markets, and the negative effect of rates comes later on down the line. There's a lagged effect with rates. It's fundamentally plausible because, of course, if you think about it, if somebody's got a fixed mortgage, it's not until 2 or whatever many years that gets refinanced, and you see a refinancing with debt. Are the Fed done? If the Fed are done, I think the market's going to do quite well. We'll see. The expectations for December are now strongly towards holding. For January, again, holding, and as we go on, the consensus is that the Fed are kind of done according to CME. Recent indicators suggest the economy activity has been expanding at a solid and strong pace. In the third quarter, jobs gained have slowed in recent months, moderating since early in the year, but remain strong, and the unemployment rate has remained low. So this is what we're looking at, right? So we did this kind of mosaic pattern yesterday where we looked at dollar up, assets down, risk, dollar down, assets up, dollar up, assets down. And we're looking for a turning in this, a reversion of it. And we did speculate based on this candle that may be on the cards. Since then, Bitcoin's done exceptionally well. Bitcoin now nearly towards, nearly, you could end up seeing a 41K and that head and shoulders target get met for Bitcoin that we've spoken about previously. But Bitcoin doing well, lots of smaller altcoins really starting to rally. Of course, Solana, which we did highlight as being a strong swimmer. Things like SushiSwap, Uniswap was up massively yesterday. You've got lots of cryptos that are doing exceptionally well. That's what happens when you have low volatility, and then you get a kind of turning, if you will. But the dollar could very much be about to roll. And for me, the dollar's kind of entered. We don't want to go on a daily hourly chart. Maybe a 4-hourly chart might do it. For me, you're very much in a range here, and it could be a topping range that you really are sort of looking to see. You can see you deviating to either side. The downside of, you can get below here, you're going to get that risk on time that we've looked at. And this is likely going to come with good news. Bitcoin's obviously appreciating as a result of the speculation on the spot ETF. We did look at a potential symmetrical triangle that was forming here. And we said, actually, Bitcoin looking very much like gold. And you can see you have broken to the upside of it, similarly to what you saw with gold. So yeah, everything looking to turn. It's very interesting, isn't it, actually, that we looked at the stock market as a retest. And where did you bounce? And this is based on stage analysis. You never retested this neckline for the head and shoulders or the point of break. And of course, you have now, and you've got a real move out of it. Is this going to be accompanied with the dollar going down, risk going up? And that's going to be a rather good period for crypto, because it's going to not have the headwind that was the dollar swimming against it. And of course, tomorrow we've got non-farm payroll, which is going to be a big one for the dollar, but we'll see. Yesterday, the SEC actually charged SafeMoon. With the SEC, they typically work in threes, so there may be some more lawsuits coming. There are definitely projects out there that deserve to be investigated and charged because they were nothing short of fraud. Let's finish the video off, guys, on a clip of Stan Druckenmiller actually extending on what we looked at yesterday, talking about his view on the economy, and that the Fed are very much acting and the governments are acting like drunken sailors. Let's dive into this.
But is there any way around monetizing these debt levels? Is there any way inflation is not here to stay?
Yeah, we could have a
long term?
look. I don't have to worry about the long term, my day job, but
Right.
but I will say this: we could have an event. I don't know whether. Hopefully, it's not a war of major powers that bring us together, and you get sacrificial behavior like we got after the Depression and World War II. We could have a financial crisis due to everything I've been talking about. And finally, my generation, I think Paul Jones made the point, we've given nothing. We've given nothing. And now we want to screw our grandchildren. Finally, we get the memo. So no, I'm not that pessimistic. And I'll say the other thing I'm optimistic about.
The
Jerome
election?
Powell normalizing interest rates.
Yeah.
We now have a hurdle rate for investment in this country. So I think the allocation of capital, ironically, if we don't go to the zombie route, and if we don't continue the drunken stuff, ironically, I think it could be a force for good, because instead of funding a bunch of nonsense and bubble stuff, the capital gets more properly allocated. So, look, I'm open-minded to a really bad outcome, and I'm open-minded to a decent outcome.
But we need to we need to cut entitlement.
I'm here today not to talk about Janet Yellen. I'm here today, guns and butter this morning. I could have written it. By the way, I didn't. We've got to stop, guys. We're drunk. We're digging this deep hole. What are we doing here?
So what's more important?
On that note, guys, I think I am going to love and leave you. That's really all we've got for you. You know, we're looking at potentially a period of risk on that's going to be anchored around dollar weakness. Yeah, things are going in the right direction. Things are going in the direction we expected them to. We think we got the macro context right, and let's hope that transpires to what is the micro with some of our altcoins. You want to find out what I'm buying and where, please do consider becoming a Patreon. And yeah, all I've got for you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.